Welcome back. We are still on the topic graph of quadratic functions. In the previous video, we learned how to use the graph of a quadratic function to find the turning point of the function. In this video, we are going to apply what we studied in the previous video to solve some questions. Here is the first question. We are being asked to complete this table for the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. And then after that, we will use the values in the table to draw the graph of the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3 on a graph sheet. Then we will use the graph to find the coordinates of the turning point of the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. We have already learned how to draw the graph of the relation on a graph sheet. So we will move straight ahead to the last part of the question. That is finding the coordinates of the turning point of the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. This is the graph of the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3. We are going to use the graph to find the coordinates of the turning point. In the previous video, we learned that in order to find the coordinates of the turning point, you first have to locate the point on the graph where the curve turns. We can see that the curve starts from here and it moves downwards until it gets to this point where it changes direction and starts moving upwards. So we can see that the curve turns at this point. So you first locate the turning point. Then after that, you trace it to the x-axis to get the x coordinate. Then you trace it to the y-axis to get the y coordinate. So here the x coordinate is 1 and the y coordinate is minus 4. So the coordinates of the turning point is 1 minus 4. So from the graph, the coordinates of the turning point is 1 minus 4. It's very, very simple. Let's move on to the next question. We are being asked to form a table of corresponding values of x and y for the relation y is equal to 4 plus 5x minus 2x squared over this interval. After that, we will use the values in that table to draw the graph of the relation. The last part says that we should use the graph to find the coordinates of the turning point of the relation y is equal to 4 plus 5x minus 2x squared. We have already learned how to draw the graph of this relation, so we will go ahead with the last part of the question, that is finding the coordinates of the turning point of y is equal to 4 plus 5x minus 2x squared. This is the graph of the relation y is equal to 4 plus 5x minus 2x squared. We are going to use this graph to find the coordinates of the turning point. To do that, you have to locate the turning point. So you can see that the graph starts from here and it keeps moving upwards until it gets to this point where it changes direction and starts moving downwards. So the turning point occurs here. So after you have located the turning point, you trace it to the x-axis to get the x coordinate, then you trace it to the y-axis to get the y coordinate. On my graph, the x coordinate of the turning point is 1.3 and the y coordinate is 7.5. So the coordinates of the turning point is the x coordinate first, so 1.3, then comma the y coordinate 7.5. So from the graph, the coordinates of the turning point is 1.3, 7.5. Let's look at the next question. We are being asked to complete this table for the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x. Then we will use the points in the table to draw the graph of the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x. After that, the last part of the question says that we should use the graph to find the coordinates of the turning point of y is equal to x squared minus 2x. We have already learned how to draw the graph of the relation y is equal to x squared minus 2x. So let's look at the last part. Finding the coordinates of the turning point of y is equal to x squared minus 2x. This is the graph of the relation y is equal to s squared minus 2s. We are going to use this graph to find the coordinates of the turning point. To do that, you first have to locate the turning point. If we start from here, we can see that the curve moves downwards and continues downwards until it gets to that point where it changes direction and starts moving upwards. So it means that the turning point occurs at this point. So after you have located the turning point, you trace it to the x-axis to get the s coordinate, then you trace it to the y-axis to get the y coordinate. On the x-axis, the coordinate there is 1. On the y-axis, the coordinate there is minus 1. So the coordinates of this turning point is 1 minus 1. So from the graph, the coordinates of the turning point is 1 minus 1. Let's consider the last question. We are to complete this table for the relation y is equal to 2 minus s squared. Then we will use the points in the table to draw the graph of the relation y is equal to 2 minus s squared. Then after that, we will use the graph to find the turning point of y is equal to 2 minus s squared. We have already learned how to draw the graph of the relation y is equal to 2 minus s squared. So let's learn how to use the graph to find the coordinates of the turning point. This is the graph of the relation y is equal to 2 minus s squared. We want to find the turning point. In the previous video, we have learned that in order to find the turning point, you first have to locate where the turning point occurs. As we can see, the curve starts from here and it moves upwards until it gets to this point where it changes direction and starts moving downwards. So it means that the turning point occurs here. So we have to find the coordinates of this point. The point falls on the y-axis. It means that the s coordinate is 0. Every point that falls on the y-axis has its s coordinate as 0. In the same way, every point that falls on the x-axis has its y coordinate as 0. So this point falls on the y-axis, so the s coordinate is 0. The y coordinate here is 2. So the coordinates of this point is 0, 2. So the coordinates of the turning point here is 0, 2. From the graph, the coordinates of the turning point is 0, 2. So you see that finding the coordinates of the turning point of a function on a graph sheet is very easy. All that you need to do is to locate the point where the graph turns, then you trace it to the x-axis to get the s coordinates. After that, you trace it to the y-axis to get the y coordinates. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. We have now learned how to use the graph of a quadratic function to find the coordinates of the turning point of the function. In the next video, we are going to learn how to use the graph of a quadratic function to find the maximum or minimum value of the function. Bye bye.